Shalom Aleichem, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. It is Shabbos HaGadol this week, and this week's Isaac Sonin is being dedicated by dear, dear Talmid Noah Horowitz and his wife in honor of Noah's Zayd's yahrzeit. The yahrzeit is on Yud Beis Nisan. The Zayd's name is Aaron ben Pinchas, and we dedicate this Dvar Torah Le'ilu Nishmas, Noah's grandfather. We read in this week's Parshas Metzora, once again we have a separation between Tazria and Metzora. Usually Tazria and Metzora together. This week they are separate because we have a Adar Sheni this past year. And in addition to the detailed halachos of how a Metzora becomes cured, becomes purified, and the various karbonos that he has to bring, the Torah describes here a third category of tzaras. We have tzaras haguf on the body, tzaras habegodim on the clothing, and then you have a third category of tzaras, which is called tzaras habayis, where the house becomes infected with tzaras, and the Torah describes in Perek Gidalit Pasuk Lamed Hey, Uba asher lo habayis. A person who's a household owner comes v'higid la kohen lemor, kanega nira li babayis. I believe I might have a nega on my house. V'tziva hakohen. So the Kohen says to this this homeowner, before I investigate your house, before I determine whether it is tahor or tameh, upinu es habayis, remove all the things from your house. B'terem yavo hakohen. Before I get there, lirosis hanega v'lo yitama kol asher babayis, lest I get there and I'm matame the house, and then all its contents will become tameh. V'achar kein, after you've removed the things from your house, then I will come and check out the house. So Rashi already points out that the Torah is chas al memonam shel Yisrael. So before the Kohen checks, we're not allowed to get people. Before the Kohen checks, we remove the contents of the house, lest the contents also become tameh. Rashi makes that point. However, the Medrash in Devarim Rabbah in Perek Vav Simin Ches makes a very fascinating comment. He says that the reason, again, we know tzaras is a spiritual ailment. It comes because of averos. Most famously is the Gemara in Erchin Dav Tes Vav describes that tzaras haguf comes about because a person speaks lashon hara. Tzaras habayis comes about because a person lacks a spirit of generosity. And the Medrash says, strikingly, that over here in this pasuk, yes, the homeowner is forced to remove the objects of his house, put his possessions, his metalton, his movable objects, take them out of the house, put them on the front lawn. And the Medrash says there is a chinuch agenda in doing that. There is a tikkun to be done. What exactly is that tikkun? As a result of, why am I getting this tzaras habayis? Why is it afflicting my house? What happened? So a house in a person's possession, those four walls, shelter him from the world outside. I have my private domain inside my house, and then I have the public sphere. Now there's always going to be a relationship between the private domain and the public sphere, and the question is, are the walls of my house perhaps a little too high? Am I too secluded? Am I too cloistered? Am I too into myself that I'm not willing to share the things that I own with my neighbors, with my friends, with my community? Says the Medrash in Devarim Rabbah that this is the reason that a person gets tzaras habayis. A person asks, can I use your lawnmower? Can I borrow something? Can I borrow some sugar? And the immediate response is, I don't have any, it's broken, I can't lend it to you. He is too selfish. He is too stingy about sharing his things. So what's the response? He gets tzaras habayis. And now that he gets tzaras habayis, he is forced to take all those objects and put them on his front lawn. He is exposed. His possessions are exposed for all to see. And that is the tikkun in a certain sense, a cure to the problem of tzaras ayin. He's too narrow, he's too selfish, he doesn't share a generosity of spirit. It's interesting. that when you look at tzaras haguf and compare it to tzaras habayis, they're coming from very, very different angles. Tzaras haguf comes from lashon hara. Lashon hara means and is when I encroach on someone's space, when I speak ill of a person inappropriately. Who gives me the right to do that? He has his own gravitas, he has his own selam elokim. Who gives me the right to invade his space with my words and speak ill about him? So the response for that is tzaras haguf. And what happens to a person who has tzaras haguf? He is expelled from the machane. He is taken chutz la machane for a period of time. He's put in isolation and quarantine until he can, in a certain sense, be rehabilitated and now rejoin the community of men and women. Because he did not respect a person's space, and therefore he gets put into his own quarantine, his own time out, to learn the lesson of respecting a person's space. But sometimes a person can be too respectful of a person's space and have no interest in his chaverim, in their needs, in sharing and giving with them. Shali, shali, shalcha, shalcha. That's called midas dom. And for that midah comes tzaras habayis, the wall that separates you from your chaverim. So that wall is now going to be infected. And what that means is now your possessions are there for all to see. The barrier between you and your friends is now going to be brought down. And in that sense, you wanted to use your house as your safe haven to close you off from society. Now those walls are not going to be protective anymore, and now you're going to be exposed. Once again, the tikkun. So tzaras, there's a lot to learn from tzaras. True, we never ever experienced a case of tzaras habayis. But drosh ulakabel schar, learn the lessons of tzaras haguf. On the one hand, respect the person's space, respect him as a person, as a human being, as tzelem elokim. If you don't, you're going to be quarantined, because you have to know how to properly give a person his space. Otherwise, you'll have too much of your own space. And tzaras habayis is be generous, be a giver, be a community person. Do not let the walls of your house isolate you from society. And if you do wrongfully, then those walls will come crumbling down. You'll be exposed. Your property will be on that front lawn. To make sure that you don't take that to an extreme, a delicate balance. Our communal side, on the one hand, being givers, respecting the space of others. Perhaps that's a core and fundamental lesson of Chag HaPesach, and perhaps just a very short tie-in. As we open up, we're getting ready for our Seders, Haba Aleinu L'Tova. And it's interesting, our first thing that we do in our Seder, at least figuratively, we say, Halach ma'anya kol dichfin yesev yechol, kol ditcheg yesev yivsach. We invite aniyim into our homes. We open up the doors of our homes to invite those that are in need to participate in the Seder. And the Seder climaxes at the end, way at the end. We open up our doors to beckon Eliyahu Hanavi to come in and to bring with him, to herald Yemos HaMashiach. And perhaps that is exactly how we'll reach the Geula HaAsida. If we open our doors to Aniyim, if we open our doors and our homes to those in need in the beginning of the Seder, then we'll be Zoche to herald Eliyahu Hanavi and Mashiach at the end of the Seder.